Today's title is what are the pros and cons of being a flight attendant? I have been dying to do a video just about flight attendant and the positive and the negative, and if you do want to become a flight attendant, what to expect, what the negatives, do they outweigh the positive, and is it worth it for you to even be a flight attendant? Now you are hearing it from a flight attendant's mouth, so you want to take my word for it, because a lot of people have videos and they think that they know what flight attendants do, and unless you are actually working for an airline, that's when you really realize what it involves and what it entails. And it is not, I want to get into the details. I don't want to say too much because I want to keep it for, my video, but you get to learn as you work, and you just get to see the positive and negative on a daily basis. And then I want you guys to be the judge of if this is something that is for you, or it's just something that probably you thought you really wanted to be a flight attendant, because in your mind, this is how you portrayed it, or you've watched videos and people talk so highly about what flight attendants do and how glamorous it can be. And then you think that that's what you want to do. So I am going to clarify this for you guys. I'm going to give you the positive, the negative. There's as many positive as there are negatives. So it's not like one is more than the other, but then you decide to see if this is the job for you. We are going to start with the pros, you guys. Are you ready? So, ding, pros right now. Being a flight attendant, it is a great lifestyle. Okay, so if you are adventurous, I was going to say if you're young. I say that because as you get older, you get married, you have children, it is not the time to start traveling just because your husband wants you home, your children need you, you're breastfeeding, you're, in the middle of, kind of growing with your family. So it's not really a lifestyle for someone that's kind of like starting a family, because you kind of want to concentrate on that. But it is a great lifestyle if you are young, or if you're getting closer to retirement, or if your kids have already grown and you want to start, following your dreams. So it is a great lifestyle. It's glamorous in certain ways. You do walk the I always call the runway. You walk that runway in the plane, you're in charge, you're in control. People look up to you, but they understand how important you are to them in case of emergency. So there's a little bit of prestige that goes with being a flight attendant, I think. And I love the title. You say you're a flight attendant. I know back then when you used to be a pilot, it used to be very respectable. People would see them in the airport and would be like, oh my gosh, there's a pilot there. Now you see them and people don't even look twice. So prestigious, it's really up to you because you feel it. You're walking the airport, you're a flight attendant, you wear that uniform proudly, and I still feel good when I say I am a flight attendant. I still feel very proud about that. So there's a glorified kind of connotation that comes with being a flight attendant, and I know I feel it every day. When I wear that uniform, I am a proud mama who's accomplished that by myself. But anyhow, so that would be one of the pros. Second pro is actually you can pick up and go. Just like, I'm very spontaneous and I don't like to plan anything. So just to give you an example, on the video with my daughter where we ended up eating at a restaurant, we were like, hey, we're kind of bored. It is 5 p.m. How about we just fly to Vegas, which has got a 45-minute flight, and we'll just grab some lunch and come back. Now, obviously, unfortunately, we couldn't because of the flight's availability and whatnot, and we ended up leaving late. But it's just, I love to be flexible. I love to be able to be like, hey, why don't we just go to Europe? Let's go. And so if you're flexible, that is the greatest job for you. I know I am, so that's why I really enjoy it. Some people love to plan it, and I'm talking months and years in advance. That is not me. I like to go when I know I'm available. Let's do it. Everything that plans never really pans out the way you want it to be. I don't like to plan ahead of time. I'm the last minute kind of a girl. So that's another pro. If you want to be a flight attendant, that is a great lifestyle if you are spontaneous. Another one is you get to travel the world. Yes, don't you have, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of perks that comes with the job, but you literally take your linear, you get your badge, show up at the airport, list yourself online, go there and be like, I want to go to Italy. And they'll be like, all right, hop in the plane and you are going to Italy. So again, being spontaneous, traveling the world, if that's something you love and enjoy, those are definitely the perks of the of being a flight attendant. All right, one more. Discounts, you guys. Yay, we love us a good deal. I love me a discount. Okay, so you are at the airport, you're hungry. I'm sure you've seen my videos. The first thing you do is you show your badge, whether you're at a little gift store or you're eating there, or even you're at the airport parking your car. Doesn't matter, just show your badge and you automatically get a discount. Now, discounts do vary from airport to airports. I've seen it where it's 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. So they vary. You are not to argue with them. That is their set rate for that particular store or thrift store or whatever it is that you're going to. So all you need to do is just show your badge. And so, and they'll give you a discount. So I just take whatever they gave me. So you're hungry, you want to grab a couple of snacks, or you just want to have lunch because you're on a long layover or dinner. There's always a little discount, and I love me some discount. I'm like the discount freak. So it doesn't matter which airport you're at. You can be in Phoenix, you can be in Kansas City, you can be in Atlanta. They will give you a discount. Now, we do have websites where only employee can get the discounts, so we can go in with our employee ID and we get discounts on cars, we get discounts on hotels, we get discounts on travels. I mean, we get discounts on everything, package deals, you name it. So I love that perk. Ooh, yeah. So, all right, one more. The benefits of the job, you guys. So we have great benefits. We get 401ks, okay? We can set it up where you can kind of save up for a college fund for your children. They'll give us a loan to help, your family. They're very, 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 very good. We have dental, we have family college, medical, eyes, you name it. We have the best plan there is. So I'm really excited about that. I think most jobs do offer some, but I think our airline is one of the best benefit-wise. I've spoken to a lot of employees from other airlines and they love our benefits. They've read our contract and they're like, oh my gosh, your airline is awesome. So kudos to you, Mr. NK. Anyway, alrighty. So with that said, our union, we are unionized and protected. That is another great thing. If you're gonna pick your airline, make sure that you are unionized. Really important. They will have your back no matter what happens. You always have a go-to to protect you and protect your job. So very important. Now, I can't speak for other airlines. I'm not sure what their contract involves. I know that we are unionized and we use it all the time, and they are there for us for anything that we may come across or encounter. So I'm really happy and excited about that. So being unionized and having great benefits, you guys, I mean, if being a flight attendant comes with all that, I say go for it. So far, so good, right? Because we haven't done the cons yet. So right now it's sounding like, oh my God, this is the dream job. Just wait. All right, next, the pay. Okay, I'm not gonna start with the cons yet. We're gonna do the pros, obviously. We're doing the pros right now. So the pay is great. Once you hit the 3, 4, 5th year mark, you are already looking at over $30 an hour, which is pretty good. And they do add per diem to that, which means it's a little bit of extra money that they give you to basically, it'll give you a little incentive to help you buy your lunch while you're staying at the hotel. And they are also paying you because you have time away from base. So as you're away from base, so the minute that the plane closes their door and backs out, you are getting paid a per diem. So you are away from your base. So my base is Orlando. So the minute the door shuts down and backs away from the gate and takes off, I am already getting paid per diem. So if I'm away for 4 days on a trip, every hour, every sleeping hour or every waking hour, or even if I'm on a layover, I am still getting paid that little per diem, not much, but it is money. And you use that, this is the way they're thinking, that you're going to be using those per diem to put to what you're eating and what you're spending. It's not a lot, but it does add up. On a 4-day trip, you do a couple of 24 hours, and you multiply by that per diem plus your paycheck because you're getting paid per hour. It starts adding up, you guys. So that's great. If you guys are excited about a per diem and a hourly rate, and then you add all that together, it does look good, but not right off the bat. So you're not getting that on year 1 or year 2. I mean, you are getting per diem, don't get me wrong, and you are getting a paycheck, but your hourly rate is no bueno. No. It will get better by the 3rd or 4th. I think by the 5th year is when you really see the increase in pay. And that's another advantage. You get a pay raise literally out of training, and you keep getting pay raises every couple of months after that. So that's pretty exciting. Not a lot of companies can say that they do that. I think a lot of them it's yearly, sometimes bi-yearly. Our company kind of keeps on skipping or kind of like increasing your pay regularly, which is very exciting because I'm already on my 3rd, I think, or 4th pay raise, and I'm like, well, thank you. Well, thank you very much. So that's really exciting. That's another pro, you guys. So, and again, that is my airline. I am not speaking for all the airlines in the world, but I'm speaking for mine, and those would be the pro. So we talked about union, great pay on the 4th and 5th year, not before. So that could be in the cons coming up. Okay, so your schedule is flexible. So people tell me, oh, you're a flight attendant, you're always gone, you can't make a marriage work, you can't have a family, blah, 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 blah. Don't listen to them. You make it work the way you want it, okay? So given that your base is brand new, because when I was hired, my base was new, which meant that your seniority went to the top. Because remember, we are not a lot of people. Now, if I was to be transferred to Las Vegas, where seniority is pretty low, I would have been probably at the bottom, which means that I would have been on reserved. And when you're on reserve, you're at someone's mercy, okay? Well, that's part of the cons. We'll talk about that. So what happens is, when you are senior and you've had a few years, they give you a line. A line means you can actually see your schedule ahead of time, so you know exactly what to expect on the upcoming month that is coming up. So let's say you have 4 to 5 trips, and each trip lasts about 2 to 3 to 4 days, maybe 5 days, it depends. I can choose to either fly that or trade it or give it away or drop it, or there's so much flexibility in the line of work that we do that it's not like a 9 to 5 job where you have to commit to go to work every single day. So for example, I work for McDonald's and I have to be there at 9 o'clock. Now, if I don't want to go, I call in sick. Well, there goes one of your sick days that are taken. We as flight attendants, if we don't want to work that 4-day shift, I just have to go on this little Facebook page that we have where we trade a lot, and then we do have Flicka, and Flicka is actually a system where we can drop our trips and we can kind of publicize what we have available, and then we have other flight attendants that are willing to pick up for overtime, and they want to see what you have, so they go into this bank of trips and they pick what they want accordingly to their availability. They have to be off. You can't be picking up a trip while you're working, obviously, and then they can pick it up, and once they pick it up, it's gone from your schedule like that. So you don't have to call in sick, you could just drop it. So that's the beauty of our job, is that we can drop trips if we don't want to work them. We can pick up trips if we see that we have some time off and we're not doing anything and we need extra money. We could pick up that 5th trip on that month. We could do overtime, it's fine, and we can get paid time and a half, which is great. So there is so much flexibility in our job, and that we're not required to go to work 9 to 5, and if you don't show up, you will get fired if you keep on calling in sick. So none of that. So that's what I love about it. So if you do have a family and you do have children, it is flexible, because if I wanted to stay the entire month with my kids, and I get my schedule basically, I usually get it on the 17th of every month. So we bid on the 12th, and by the 17th, it's awarded to you. So once I see my schedule, I can decide what I'm gonna do next month. So I'm gonna be like, okay, I have 4 trips. I do wanna take the entire month off. My kids need me. My family needs me home. We have plans, whatever it is, the excuse that you have or the reason why you wanna stay. Then you can start planning to drop your trips. You can say, hey, are you available next month for this? Hey, let me drop, let me post it. Let me see if somebody's gonna pick it up. And if they do, great. If they don't, then you're basically stuck with it. But 90% of the time, it will be picked up unless it is a holiday. Most holidays, obviously, people don't want to work, understandably. But some do. You have some, young girls or gentlemen that just don't have families and they want to make that extra money because you get paid a lot more during the holidays. So they're like, hey, I'll pick it up for you. So you make friends, you trade, you drop, you pick up. So it's just a great job as far as flexibility is concerned. I hope it made some sense. And if not, make sure you comment below, ask me any questions. And also the fact that your schedule is very flexible, it allows you to have another job, which is awesome, you guys. So not only do you get extra family time because you've taken that whole month off, but if you have a side job, some people are realtors, some people, they don't want to give up their job and still fly and get benefits and fly for free and whatnot. So they keep their job, and a lot of them have 2 jobs. They'll drive Uber, they'll drive Lyft. I do, Uber Eats. They will do that and they will keep that. A lot of them are realtors. Me too. I'm licensed in Fort Lauderdale. So, and they'll keep their job and do like that side hustle and still fly part-time. So it's great because you get to keep the job that you have presently and you can be a flight attendant, which is amazing. I mean, unbelievable. All right, what else? You get to earn extra cash. You do. For example, when we distribute credit cards on board and we have people fill out the application because they do want our airline's credit card, you get a little bit of incentive for every application. Now, if the application is approved, because once we mail them out, we want to make sure that, they are either approved or denied so they can get their credit card. Regardless of what happens, the minute that you submit those, you get a little something. And if they are approved, you get a big incentive actually on top of your paycheck. So it is great because there's always that opportunity in that company to make extra money, which I think is fantastic. So you have your per diem. Those are for everybody. Now, credit cards, if you decide you want to do them with your crew, you do them. If you don't do them, you don't do them. We do get a percentage on sales since we sell a lot of our things on board. We do get a tiny percentage. It's almost, I think it's like 1%. It's not much, but it does accumulate and it is kind of split evenly throughout all of us crew. So it's not like, oh, you work more, so you get it. So it's all spread out evenly. And it's not much, but it is added to your paycheck. So that's another little incentive that they give you to make you work and for you to make more money. So there's many opportunities as a flight attendant to make more money. It's not just you're there, you're getting your hourly rate and that's it. There's here and this and that, and little things add up at the end of the 2. We're getting paid bi-weekly. So after the 2 weeks, it's a fun paycheck. KCM is actually the pass that you have, which allows you to go through. Actually, you have security, which is the ones that you guys all know. And then you have KCM, which is known crew member. So known, K, crew member, so KCM. So basically you need to show your badge, just show an ID, and you are ready to go. The thing is, you can go either in uniform or not. If you are in uniform, you show 2 IDs. If you're not in uniform, you need to show 3 IDs, including your badge. So they got really, really more strict because somebody was trying to pull some strings and get away with some things and they got caught. So it messed it up for all of us, honest flight attendants. And so now we're stuck showing 3 ID instead of 2, which is kind of disappointing. I mean, but I understand if you're not in uniform, you need to prove that you are a flight attendant. So those 3 IDs will justify why you're trying to go through that special security because you're an employee. An airline employee. So that's the positive, is that if you see that huge lineup okay, through security, and you're just like, I'm gonna go to KCM and I'm just gonna beat that line up. You guys are ready to go, and you can be carrying water, you can be carrying food, you can have your shoes on, you can have a hat if you wanted to, which is not recommended, but you can be carrying a huge backpack with everything that is, I was gonna say illegal, but that doesn't sound right. You know, you can have your toothpaste, you can have, there is no restrictions for KCM, which is the beauty of it all. Again, you show your badge, you know, or 2 IDs, and if you're not in uniform, 3 IDs, and you go right through and you look at everybody and you're like, suckers. So when you're with your family, it is very important that you do not take them through KCM because they do not have a badge and they are not allowed. Very important, because I know a lot of people have gotten busted trying to get their whole family through, and that is a no-no. You will get fired. Very important that your family goes through the normal security, and then you can, if you don't want to stay with them, you can go through KCM and kind of meet them at the gate. That's what I would do. I wouldn't leave my family anyway, so I would go through that long lineup of security. Who cares? It is what it is. But when I am going to work, and it's really important I get to work on time, or we have to get to a gate, we're in that work mode, we need to go through KCM, there's just no time to think. Now, sometimes they will randomly select you. They have this thing where they just randomly select, I think 1 every 10 or 15, or just something that the computer decides. So they'll swipe your badge and be like, you've been selected. Unfortunately, you could go back to that line, that security line, like everybody else, and go get checked. And that sucks, you guys. That really, really sucks. They never used to do that, but again, because of that 1 or 2 person that kind of took advantage of the system, they've changed things around. So they randomly check you, and you may be asked to go through the line, which kind of sucks, because when you're in a hurry and you have a flight to catch, they select you and you're like, oh my gosh, no, I have a shuttle and my crew's already walking to the shuttle and they're going to be in the plane and I won't. And then you got to wait in line. Like everybody else, you got to take off your belt, you got to take off all your stuff. You don't have to remove the water, which is a good thing, because they know that you've been checked and you have your badge and you're in uniform. Because if you're not in uniform and you go through that long line of that security checkpoint, they're going to remove the water from you. They will remove just about everything, because you have to comply like everyone else, just because you don't have your uniform. So if you guys are commuting to work, very important, if you are commuting to work, please put your uniform so you can use KCM, or you can keep your, your waters or whatever you're taking to work through the security checkpoint. Because if you are not in uniform and you're showing 3 IDs at KCM and they flag you, you need to go to the checkpoint and you need to throw all of that stuff away, and that sucks. So you never know, you take a chance when you're not in uniform. Just remember that. Little tip, little flight attendant tip. All right. So what else? Passes, you guys. Yay, my favorite. Woo-woo. That's where people want to be, flight attendant. My airline gives us 12 passes. Now, 1 passes is the equivalent of 1 way. 2 passes is a round trip. Unless you do 2 flights to go and 2 flights to come back. In some instance, you might be using 4 passes. In some instance, it all depends if it's a flight through or if it's a connection. I mean, it's up to them. I don't know how that works because I haven't really used any of the passes yet. I almost did the other day, but didn't. The person ended up purchasing a ticket. But so you have to be careful with that, because these 12, it sounds like a lot, but a round trip, you can easily use 2 to 4, because it's 2 flights to go, 2 flights to come back. So that's kind of like another 3 trips. So it's not a lot. So if you have a family of 5 that all want to use your passes, you only get 12 a year. That kind of sucks. And they can only fly on your airline. So it's not like you're my friend and I give you passes and you could just fly on Delta. It doesn't work like that. If I work for JetBlue, you are stuck with JetBlue, and that's the only airline you can fly with my passes. So that's kind of like a draw. I don't know if it's a drawback. You still fly for free. I mean, you do have to pay the taxes, but the taxes are not as much as an airline ticket, so you can save a lot of money there. The good thing is your spouse gets to fly on any airline just like you. So you do have a list of dependents that you can put under you. So for example, my spouse was under there, my ex, my children, they will be under my dependent until they reach the age of 18, I believe. Once they are 18, they no longer can fly for free, but they can use passes, which means they're stuck on my airline. So if you want to use Alitalia to go to Italy, then we'd have to use my airline, who doesn't go to Italy. So then they're kind of restricted after 18 years of age to even go to Italy. You know what I mean? So it would have to be now before they turn 18. So again, you have 12 passes. That's for your friends, okay? Now, if you have family, and I'm not talking about your uncle and your aunt because that doesn't count. They would have to use your passes because they are considered as friends, not family per se. Now, your dependent, your children, your spouse, and your parents. So your mom and dad. My dad passed away, so my mom, I put her on my dependent, and because we're allowed 2 adults, and my dad passed away, I put my mother-in-law at the time. So that was the 2 parents. And then I had 3 children, so I put my 3 children and my spouse at the time, who I added, and they all get, my dependent only, they all get to fly any airline at any time, which is wonderful. Actually, no, that's not true, because my mother-in-law is restricted to go on any other airlines but mine, just because they feel like it's not your immediate family. Yeah. So she was stuck to fly my airline only, which is still good. For free. I mean, hey, who's complaining, right? Free ticket, you take it. But my kids right now, they only have to pay a little bit of a tax depending. So when we went to Vegas, I believe it was like a $7 or $8 tax. There was nothing to go and come back. It starts getting a little more expensive if you're trying to go internationally. For example, when I took JetBlue, which was not my airline, and I went to the Bahamas. The Bahamas got expensive just because it's international and their taxes are different than the US. So going into was pretty expensive. Coming back wasn't that bad. But once you go to another country, they will nail you with, even if you're commuting, it doesn't matter. You are still paying some crazy taxes. So just take that into consideration as well. All right. And then we did talk about trade. It's easy. Okay, so once you gain more experience as a flight attendant, it is easier to trade base, and you can do it right off the bat. So the minute that you graduate with my airline, I don't know about other airlines, with my airline, you can transfer base right away. Now you might get approved or denied, depending on how many people are transferring and how many openings there are. But I know that I wanted my transfer right away and I got it, and then I kind of backed out from that because that base was so senior. So I ended up staying in my less senior base so that my seniority can stay as high as it can, so I can have that flexibility to drop trips like I was telling you guys. So that's pretty much, oh, and something else. Okay, that's the last pro, you guys. Whenever you do fly, you do not have a boss. You are your own boss, you and your crew. So if you guys, you get annoyed by going to work every morning and having your boss breathing, over your neck every day and telling you what to do, you don't have that. You are your own boss. Your crew is basically you're all your own bosses. You make decisions together as a crew, and your crew will be the people you'll be with for the next 2-3 days during that trip. So that's the beauty of it all. You have no one breathing down your neck, and you guys can all kind of feed off of each other if you're not sure about something. So that's the fun part about it. You don't have a boss. At 35,000 feet, no bosses. But the thing is, you are with a different crew every single time. So it's like you go to work, you know your boss, you know your coworkers, you've seen them, you know them. You go to Christmas parties, you know them all by first name, last name, you know their spouse, their kids. Santa comes with a big beer and takes your child on his lap because that's like, the assistant boss or whatever. It doesn't work like that in this airline industry. You are with a different crew every single week. So don't get attached to whoever you're working with, because you will not work with that same person again. So if that excites you, yay. I know it excites me. I don't like to have the same people over and over again. I mean, it's nice to develop friendship, but I develop friendship every time I go with a crew. I'll hang out with these new people. They become my best friends. Do I see them again? No. Do we keep in touch? Yeah. So sometimes I won't see them for 6 months, and then poof, they put us together. And then you're like, oh my God, flying with you, this is so much fun. And it's exciting because it's always the unknown and it's always moving, and that's what I like about it. I like the newity of it, if that's even a word. The newity. Whatever. Okay, now let's go with the Cons, are you guys ready? So far you're all excited and fired up and you're like, damn, this is a great job for me. I can't wait to start. Let me tell you, as much as there's positive, there are negative. All right, let's get started. The pay, you guys, ching, sucks. Boo. I mean, you get paid more at McDonald's than you do being a flight attendant. Ugh. Okay, starting pay. Some airlines, $17,000 a year, some of them $16,000, $18,000 is around the norm of a brand new employee. And now I'm not talking, you know, your top airlines like American Airlines, like Delta, you know, they start you up pretty high. I think you start at 25 or 30, or if not above 30. So they treat their employees, but the training is ridiculous. Getting in is hard. I'm talking about regionals, and I'm talking normal airlines like JetBlue, Southwest, just your, you know, I call them normal. Not that the other ones are not normal. All I'm saying is, you know, your regular airlines that are not too hard to get in and not too complicated, you know, to work for. So yeah, the pay sucks for us, for all of us. Regionals are worse. Like seriously, if you go with these little guys, woo, they don't treat you good at all to begin with. It's really hard, even for pilots, but it is a good starter. It's a good step starter to actually get you to work for the bigger company. So it gives you a little bit of experience and it helps you out. So that's one of the cons. If you guys are willing to work for an airline, give it 3 years and don't complain, because you already know, I've already told you, it's not going to be a great pay. Don't expect to be able to pay your rent. You need someone to support you. You need someone to be there for you financially. You need a little bit of a backup to start off with. And gosh, all of my coworkers are struggling because everybody was used to making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, even $100,000 a year, and they take a huge pay cut. So that's why they were, you know, some of them try to keep 2 jobs, and so it's really, really hard for them. So just keep that in mind. Second of all, crash pads. Yeah, the beauty of crash pads. All right, so you live in Arizona, like I do, and you're hired and you're so excited, but they don't have a base in Phoenix, Arizona. Their base is in Orlando. Guess what? You're commuting. You are commuting. You need to be there when they call you and they need you to work. So what do? You need to commute, you guys. And where do you stay? Do you get an apartment and pay for your apartment here and your apartment there? That's a lot of money, and you're not making a lot of money. You're starting out. Do you stay with grandma? What if she gets fed up and kicks you out? Just giving you an example. My point is, you need a crash pad. Crash pad is very cheap. They range between $300 and $500 a month. They are cheap because you're not owning anything. You're not renting anything. You're just borrowing a bed. Now this bed can be amongst 20 beds. It could be amongst 5 beds, 4 beds, 3 beds, 2 beds. Could be in a private home, could be in a hotel. I do talk about hotel connections. I do talk about crash pads and choices. So you might have to look at my past videos below. It will talk to you about all the pros and cons and crash pads. But it is not an easy life, you guys. You are stuck on the bunk bed. Once you get to the hotel, you don't know if you're getting the bottom, the top. You have to reserve the shower time. You are sharing your space with maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strangers, because these ladies are working from different airlines, not just from yours. So you see them coming in from United Airlines, Delta, Frontier. I've seen them from all over, and you have to get along. Because sometimes you want some TV time, someone else wants it, or you're making too much noise, they don't like it, or you're in the bathroom, they're knocking the door, you're taking too long. You have to consider that you are sharing a crash pad with strangers, and it is no fun. It is cheap, but it is no fun. But you have to expect that. If you're gonna start your career, you gotta start somewhere, and it's like I'm saying, it's like starting at the bottom of a job. You know, you first clean, you're the cleaner, and then you work your way up, and slowly and eventually, you know, you can own the restaurant. But it's like anything, you got to start at the bottom. So if you don't have that luxury to be able to be transferred closer to your home, where you can sleep comfortably in your home, and if they call you while you're on reserve, you run to the airport. If you don't have that luxury to be transferred automatically, you will be stuck in a crash pad. You will have to spend money. So a part of your paycheck will go to the crash pad. So consider that. Remember, you're not making a lot of money, because if you divide $18,000 in 12 months, part of that goes to the crash pad. So remember that. Okay, so crash pads, is kind of a con, all right? Now, if you can get transferred to where you live, you don't have a crash pad. You're fine. But you got to remember you're on call and the airlines own you. So when you start out in any job, well, not any job, as a flight attendant, it doesn't matter who you work for, you will be on reserve. And reserve means they will give you blocks of reserve time during the year, and they will call you when they need you. But you need to be on standby. Now, different airlines put you on standby for 10 hours, like ours. Others put you for 12 hours on reserve, and others put you for 24 hours on reserve, meaning you can be at home. Let's say your base is here in Arizona and you're at home, so you're not in a crash pad because they didn't relocate you where they needed you. They needed you where you live, so you're lucky. And now you're on reserve because you're starting out and you're at the bottom and you're gonna eventually hold the line, but right now you're on reserve and you're having a great Christmas party with your family, and they put you on hold. They put you on reserve for 4 days. So you know that from Monday to Thursday you're on reserve, and that's fine. So you're just like doing this, blah, 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 and they call you at midnight because you're on reserve 24 hours, and they want you to come because they have a trip for you. Well, you have to say bye-bye to everybody. Bye, I was enjoying this party. Hopefully you weren't drinking because you know you're on reserve and they may call you, so you don't want to be drunk. So you can't really party with everyone else, and then you gotta rush because they give you about 2 hours prior to departure to get your butt to the airport. So, and 2 hours is being generous because they want you there like ASAP. So, but by law, they have to give you at least 2 hours. So you're telling goodbye to Uncle Sam, and you're saying goodbye to Missy and your children, and you're like, mommy's gotta go. And you don't know where you're going. So you get into your car, you drive to the airport, and then once you get there, you basically refresh your schedule and it tells you exactly that you're going to Puerto Rico for 4 days. Okay, I went from having a Christmas party to Puerto Rico. So it's very unexpected. You don't know where you're gonna be. They will call you at any time during that 24-hour period. They do it for 10 hours and they have different shifts. So you pick your shift. So if you want them to call you between noon and let's say 10 at night, or is it 10 or 12 hours? I'm forgetting. Anyway, so they have different time zones. So you can do early in the morning, you could do in the middle of the night, you can do in the afternoon. So they have different shifts for you to pick from. They may grant it, they may not, depending on your seniority. And if you're a night owl, then I suggest that you pick the night. You know, if you are a day person, then you could be on reserve during the day because you want your rest at night. But even if they call you during the day and they call you on the last hour, so let's say you're on reserve for 10 hours. And let's say it's from 10 noon all the way to 10 p.m. And they can call you at 9:59 and be like, hello, we have a trip for you. And your trip is a red eye. You still have to work even though you've been up all day. So it's very, very demanding, you guys. And it's very stressful because if you don't answer that phone, you can get fired. So you always have to make sure that you have signal and you're in a right zone. And if you can't receive calls, you get that anxiety attack. And if you are in the shower, which has happened to me, and they call you, they will give you one more chance and they will call you 10 minutes later. Now you may call them back and ask, hey, I'm sorry I missed your call. But it's happened where I'm in a zone or I'm in the shower and I didn't hear it and my phone for some reason turned off because it was dying. And here I am, I never hear it. And then they'll take a lot of points off of that because if you're a no-show, it is horrible to be in this business and be a no-show. They will fire you. They don't care. They want someone that's reliable. And when they call you and they need you, you need to answer that phone. So there is a stress level that I can't explain because you get anxiety. You really do. I mean, you'll hear this phone, like we're in a crash pad. We're probably, let's say 8 of us. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 of us because there's 2 bunk beds. And then you'll hear someone's phone at 3 in the morning and she's like, hello, and your report time is in 2 hours, 5 o'clock, your departure time, you need to be there. So your heart starts pumping because it wakes you up in the middle of the night, then you have to hurry up. Or sometimes people sleep right through. They forgot to put it, to bypass the call from scheduling crew scheduling, I mean. And you forget it and you see a missed call and then your heart, and it's very stressful, you guys. So just take that into consideration. Your phone is your job. You miss that call, you lose a lot of points, close to actually being fired. I think you could do that 1 time or twice and you can. We have a few people that I already know personally who have been fired because they have not answered their phone, you guys. It's that simple. So your phone is your world, okay? So when you're traveling, make sure your phone is charged. Make sure you have 2 chargers. And so I don't want to scare you, but that is the truth. Your job is your phone. You don't answer, you lose your job. All right, enough scaring you, but it is a con. You need to have reception at all times, and if not, have a backup phone. People have 2 phones. If that doesn't work, you tell crew scheduling, please call the other one if it doesn't work, or forward that one to this one, just to have a backup. All right, so relocating. Yes. Relocating. Relocating is not fun. It takes a lot of funds. If you do, like me, I'm based in Orlando, I can move my whole family there, or I can move myself there. It is expensive, so I'm closer to base. And then until you have enough seniority where you can choose your base, which I know for like Delta or American Airlines, you're looking at 15 to 25 years before you can relocate to where, so let's say you graduated and they threw you, I don't know, somewhere in California, and that's not where you live. Before you can move to where you live, which is probably one of their base, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get the base of your choice. You have to have a lot of years in for those big companies. And so it's very frustrating. People don't like to commute. And that's another thing, commuting, you guys. Commuting is, some people say it sucks because like me, it takes the entire day to get to Florida and I lose 3 hours on top of that. So I leave early morning, I get there almost at midnight and I have to commute the day before. So think about it. I lose a day and I don't start working until the next day. Now, what if I don't get on flights? How do I get to commute to my base? Especially if I work early the next day. So sometimes you get to leave 2 days prior to. So there's a stress of commuting. There's the stress of commuting, you guys, and a lot of people have anxiety about that. So a lot of flight attendants don't realize that until they are in it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I live here and I work there. I need to commute. And so they get really stressed out, especially during the holidays. If you can't get on a plane and you need to go to work, some people need to leave 2-3 days in advance, and that means when they get there, they need to get a hotel or a crash pad ahead of time. So there's a lot of planning that goes into commuting. I love commuting. I say to people, well, you drive to work 2 to 3 hours, I fly. And I love watching my movies. I love Southwest. I'll fly on Southwest because that's the only route that I can get a direct flight, or sometimes 2 flights. Other airlines don't give me that flexibility because they are not based in Phoenix. So it's a little harder for me to get to work the day before. I love it. I love to have my relaxing time in my hotel at night. I love that I can take my time to work the next day. I know what my day is gonna look like for work and my days coming up. And so I like it. It doesn't mean you will. So it is a con for a lot of people that get hired. All right, now jet lag, you guys. So, you know, when you're 35,000 feet and you got all this radiation from the sun, you know, the altitude, and it sucks the daylight out of you. I mean, the air is bad, and then your time zones are different all the time. So then when you land, you are exhausted. I don't care if you just did 1 flight or 2 flights. Traveling is exhausting, and you are exhausted all the time. I don't care if you're Superwoman and you work out like I do. It takes me 2 to 3 days to recoup. I love to just lay flat in bed and catch up with my emails, maybe do some videos and relax, because it takes time for me to get back, into my routine. So take that into consideration. Jet lag is no joke, all right? So if you're a mom and you're very energetic, when you get home, you need to decompress and you need that time and you need water. Now, this lifestyle is very lonely, okay? I've heard of a lot of people that have complained and have sought help for depression. It's a lonely lifestyle. I don't care if you're married or you have an amazing family, you are on your own all the time, okay? So you make friends, that's great. You can go out with them. At the end of the day, you are alone. You go back to your hotel, there's no one around. Your crew is new, so you don't always get along with them, or you may get along with them, but they're not friends you can confide because you don't know them that well yet. So you have new people all the time and you're traveling everywhere. So you don't know what's around. You don't have someone to confide in unless you have friends you can talk to on the phone. But sometimes you get there late because there's a time zone difference and you don't want to bother a friend and call them late. And so it gets very, very lonely. And I've seen a lot of flight attendants get really depressed, sometimes leading to suicide, unfortunately. We have a high rate because of how stressful the job can be. You do deal with customer service. You have to satisfy your clients, and you don't always have positive passengers. So it could get very, very stressful to satisfy passengers, take care of them, represent the image of the company, and then you go to your hotel, and then you're kind of like alone, and you're ordering food. You have no one to talk to. I could see it where it can be very strenuous and very stressful, and I could see it how it can be very lonely. So it's a very lonely job, you guys. And it's moving all the time, so you always have to be active. You don't really have that downtime unless you're on a really, really long layover, which does not exist in this job. They will not pay you for you to relax. I mean, it happens once in a while when we're in, Colombia, where you have a long layover for one day and you take advantage of it, but you're mostly flying every single day, and it is stressful. It takes a lot out of you. And then you've got these crazy early flights. Report time is like 4 a.m. because your flight leaves at 5:50. And so you're waking up in the middle of the night, but really for you it's midnight, and then you've got a red eye, and then you get in, but they only give you 8 to 10 hours to relax and head back, which some airlines give you more time, less time. Sometimes they just cut your time in half because they need you. Sometimes they're not supposed to do that because that's when the unions come into play, but sometimes you need to do the job before you can kind of complain to the union, but they'll work you, and it is exhausting. And I kid you not, this is coming from a flight attendant that works. Like I said, you can watch a lot of videos. People, I don't know if they lie to you or whatnot, but I'm telling you, it is a very lonely world. And if you don't have that someone to share that with, it could be very, very hard on your partner too, because you're always gone. Okay. You live out of your suitcase. That's so true. You come home, it's not even worth it to unload everything, because that's exactly what you're going to need for your next trip. So you basically throw it in the wash, throw it back, fold it again, and that's your suitcase. And as you can see right here, I have 2 bags. My bags have the makeup, and the other bag has the shampoos and everything that I need. And to be honest with you guys, this is the stuff that I need. So why should I take it out when I know that I want to be going to work or I'm going to be traveling soon? It's already all there and prepared. So I live in suitcase and baggies. So if you're okay with that, great. And I do have a hamper here with some clothes that I kind of use for work and I kind of use for working out. So I kind of leave everything there, because if I mix it in the shuffle with my other stuff, then I can't find anything and I get frustrated. So I like to have everything handy so I can just grab it and go, wash what I need, and it's already in a pile. I know it sounds crazy, but it works for me, because remember, they call you have 2 hours. I don't have time to look for clothes, and you need your uniform, you need clothes when you get to the hotel to change. It gets cold, it gets hot, depends on where you're at, so you need to have all that backup clothes. All right. It's hard on relationship. We've talked about that. You're traveling, and unless you're able to have enough seniority where you can take time off, but you are always gone. You have to have someone that trusts you. You have to have that communication. This is where I'm at, honey. I'm watching a movie by myself, and you communicate on a daily, and it shouldn't be an issue. But a lot of relationships take a toll. It takes a toll on a lot of relationship because you're gone a lot, especially at the beginning when you're on reserve, whether you're working or not, and they based you somewhere far, but you're not working. You're wasting time sitting around when you could be sitting around with your husband at your base, but you're not on your base. So you're sitting alone in hotels and rooms, and there's temptation, and your spouse misses you, and it can be very hard for the person that loves you, or your children, because you're away from them, but as the years go by, you gain more experience, and you can say, you can drop trips, and it could be more flexible for you, so it gets better, right? And another downfall is that you only have 12 passes. I think I talked about that. And your friends get to pay taxes, and sometimes it sucks, like it really does. I've seen where sometimes the taxes are a little more than the ticket, and you're like, what? Then you're better off just buying a ticket, really. And then why be on standby? And you are on standby. When you get a pass, you're on standby. So that's kind of the negative cons from passes. It doesn't mean you're going to get on. So your friend can be excited. Oh my God, she gave me 2 passes to go and visit her. Doesn't mean you'll get on. If the flights are full, especially now with COVID, the planes are full because they're half full. Remember, they skip a person. So when it says that it's full, it's not full. It's really half full, but they have to mark it as full. So they can't allow that many passengers anymore. So it gets full faster, and it's so hard to get on now. You saw my last video where we got stuck. I had to find an alternative to get to Florida. It was just a mess. Anyways. And then I have to pay too, which kind of sucks too. If I am commuting, it is free. But if I'm traveling with my family, I'm obviously not commuting, so I can't mark myself as a commuter. So I have to write myself as an R2, I believe, which means I'm just going to be a passenger like anyone else. And they charge me the taxes too. So I'm like, obviously if I'm going to London, I'm not commuting, and you have to be honest about that, because if I was commuting, I don't know if it would be free. I think I would still have to pay because it is international, but I wouldn't pay as much as if my family was going. And so I have to pay a fee too, so it's not free. So you guys take that misconception out of your mind. Oh, flight attendants fly for free everywhere. We have to pay a fee unless you're commuting. If you're commuting within the US, which means I'm here going to base, they allow that to be free. But if you are on a vacation and you're going somewhere, whether it's international or within the US, you have to pay the taxes just like your family does. So, and passes holders have to pay a larger tax. So just keep that in mind as well. So that's kind of a con. So early shifts are not too fun. Like I said, your report time, you might have a report time of 4 or 5, 3 in the morning, midnight, red eye. They suck. So if you're not a morning person or night person, just expect to be woken up at different times during your trips. And it's very taxing on your body because you have different times, and you got to get used to that. You got to be flexible. Like I said, delays and holidays. If you don't like to work on holidays or your birthday or July 4th, forget it. You're not going to be happy because they're going to make you work. You're going to be the first ones on reserve. You're going to be the first one they'll call. They're not going to call the senior. They'll call you. So expect every holidays to be working. That's just the way it is. It really is. And last and not least, crazy passengers, you guys, and employees. Yes, because we work with different employees and different crew every time, you may not get along with everybody. And trust me, it gets really, really tough because you're kind of stuck with them for 4 days. And those are the ones that you're traveling for those 4 days. And so if you don't get along, it's hard. It's going to be a long trip, you guys. Oh, you gotta keep a smile and try to make it work. So that's kind of like, But the good thing is you're not gonna see them again. So it's not like you have a coworker that you don't like, that you're stuck working 9 to 5 every day with. So that's kind of like the positive out of that situation. And different passengers, yeah. Well, that's with anything. You're at work, you're working at McDonald's, somebody's complaining. You're always gonna have someone that's complaining. So the negative of it all is like you got to play psychiatrist, psychologist. You got to work with your passengers. And if somebody gets sick, you guys, you got to be doctor. You got to bring that training into place. If somebody needs oxygen, you got to be there. You always have to be alert. There's a lot of stress that goes into being a flight attendant. There's a big responsibility. You're there to save lives in case something happens. They look up to you. So just keep that in mind, you guys. I hope this was a helpful video. I know it's long. I knew it was going to be long, but at least you got to see the pros and the cons. And now you can make up your mind as to if this is for you or not. So comment below. Let me know what you think of this video. Also, share with me, your thoughts and just your thought process, if this is something you would love to do. And if you have any questions, make sure you comment below and I'll make sure to answer. I hope you enjoy this. Remember, I do coaching as well. I am still coaching now. Hopefully they'll reopen, the hiring process. I know the airlines are struggling a little bit financially. They're trying to keep everybody on payroll, so it may not open for another couple of months, but take this opportunity, you guys, to kind of like shine your little talents on how to interview. Take this time to practice. Don't wait till last minute. It's good to get a refresher. If you need me, flywithshelly@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to help you guys and train you, help you, question you. We can do a mock interview if you need to. I am here for you. And I forgot another good thing about pros. You can grow with the company, you guys. You could definitely grow with the company. So you can start as a flight attendant. You can move up to management. You can be a crew scheduler. You can be, I want to be a recruit, so I want to start interviewing. So this is why all of my, little tips and tricks that I give you when I do train you, they'll help when you're going to interview with moi. I don't charge a big fee. So make sure that you guys keep that in mind. I am here to help. And don't forget, email me. And I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Now with COVID and everything, take that opportunity to train you guys. Train your mind, train how to answer, because when it comes time for you guys to interview, the stress comes into play. And maybe me coaching you will remind you of, you know, what to answer, how to answer, and how to nail that interview so you can get your CJO and come and fly with me. All right, guys, love you. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this was an informative video. I haven't done one in a while. I've just been preparing it. You know, it takes time, you guys, to prepare these videos, like, hello. And you know, it's good content, and I hope it helped you a lot. So take care of yourself. Have a great week, and I love you.